Good evening, Daniel here, Tennessee Fly Angler on YouTube, abbreviation TN. You can look me up on Facebook of Edwards Fly Fishing. I had a gentleman ask me to tie this fly. It is a terrestrial pattern. It's a hopper. It's called the Mr. Peanut hopper. The hook and the vise is a size 6 Daiichi 2 extra long streamer, and it's heavy. Got a bobbin loaded up here with UTC 140 denier in yellow. We're going to start the thread between the barb and the hook point and advance in open spirals to about an eye width to the eye. You will then advance back and a little bit closer, touching wraps to the starting point, locking all of that tying thread down. It's going to give a nice little area for the foam to lay, the craft foam. At this point, I like to add just a touch of Zap-A-Gap to ensure that once this fly is complete, it doesn't roll as much on the hook shank. Okay. The body of this fly is craft foam. What I've done is I went to the dollar store and I got the variety pack of self-adhesive craft foam, and you peel the vinyl backing off, and here this fly, hence Mr. Peanut, brown and yellow, is how it's traditionally tied. It also works well black and tan. I've tied it brown and green. I've even tied it in orange and red for a friend of mine, his request. But what I've done is you take both pieces of self-adhesive foam, different colors, and you stick them together, and then you cut them in 1/4-inch strips. To create the tail or the butt end of this fly, you take your piece of foam and you're going to cut it into a little short arrow shape. Try to make it as even as possible. It's not very even, but I will fix that. Much better. Now I like to blunt the tip just a little. Just gives it a nice appearance. What we're going to do here now is lay the yellow side down, and you want your butt end of the fly to be approximately a hook gap past the hook itself. And right where you left off with your bobbin, you're going to do a loose wrap, and pull down, and a loose wrap and pull down. I like to do 3 or 4 of these. Now this particular fly is a 6. You can tie this in an 8. You would obviously do a little smaller sections. Now traditionally you would advance the thread over top of the foam. In this case we want a nice even segmented body, so I'm going to lift the foam and advance in 3 open spirals, 2, 3, and then do another section. My goal is here to have 4 equal sections, including the butt section of this hopper, to be nice and even and have good looking, well proportioned segments. 1, 2, 3. You do a wrap, and this will roll on you. This craft foam, if you've never done with craft foam, it likes to roll on the shank of the hook. Hence the Zap-A-Gap. Once it dries, it kind of helps out quite a bit. Now as I advance to the eye, before I do this 3rd segment, you notice you got the butt end is longer and it's nice and blunt. This first section is nice and more well oval. This next section is rounded, and I like the next section 2, 3. I tighten as I go down, and where I stopped here is where I stopped when I first advanced my thread towards the eye. What this does, it just gives a nice natural appearance to an actual grasshopper. You got to play with this foam as you work with it, guys and gals. Now you've got a nice segmented body for this hopper. Now what we're going to do is tie in the wing. We're going to use elk hair in natural color. When you pick you out some elk hair, obviously go towards the hide. I like to use the back of my scissors to grab it, pull it forward. You want approximately, everybody's held a number 2 pencil, so excuse me for not finishing my sentences. But you don't want too much hair, and you don't want not enough. So I would say between 1/2 and 3/4 of a diameter of a number 2 pencil. Once you get it pulled up there, trim it close to the hide. And there you go. There's no point, I don't think, in using a stacker on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it to where the hairs align more curved upward. And then I'm going to move fingers to about the halfway to the 3rd mark and grab it there. And then I'm going to do a little twist with my fingers as I'm pinching hard. What that's going to do is flare it out and allow me to remove the underfur of the elk hair. All that fuzzy material that's down in there. And I'm going to reposition again. And at this point, there's no point in stacking this. If there's any longer hairs, you can go ahead and pluck them out. That right there looks pretty good. Now, I'm going to lay this directly on top of the hopper. I do not want the wing to extend past the body of the fly. I want it to be close, but I don't want it to extend past it. I don't want it even with the back of it. So, as I move here, you pull your bobbin down and do 1 loose wrap and just let it hang. And then you can even reposition again and look if you want to make sure that it's not extending past. Then you will do another loose wrap, pull down, then wrap halfway up and then pull up. And I like to wrap through the butt ends here. Now, if you notice, I have not let go of the wing. At this point, I can then trim away the elk hair, being careful not to trap my tying thread in the process. Now, as I'm still holding on to the wing, I will now create the head of the fly. Pull your tag end over. You don't want to pull it tight and pinch it. That's not what you want to do. You want to create a nice head that looks like a grasshopper for this. So what you want to do, grab it here with your thumb and middle finger, and then use your index finger to push it over and then down. See how that the head of that foam extends past the eye of the hook? You will then grab it with my index finger is pushing down on it. I'm still holding on to the wing. You will then grab it with your thumb and middle finger, pinch all of it together, including the wing, and then you can have this hand free to reposition, hold it all, and now you can tie in the head. You do a loose wrap right over top, reposition, do a couple of nice snug tugs there, creating a nice head to this hopper. You don't want to pull down too much, guys. This tying thread will cut through the craft foam. Now, at this point, you can let go of all of this. You're done with that. You can now tie in your legs. For legs, we're going to use the rubber legs. You can use spinnerbait skirts. This here is just some I bought off of eBay in bulk. This is a brown and gold or yellow. It's hard to see in this light. But what I've done to make the nice legs is I've tied a knot here. And it's as simple as that to do. You just take a piece and you tie a knot in it. Just one, like you tie in your shoe. Just tie a knot. A regular old knot. Nothing fancy. Pull your knot down to where you got plenty to work with, and then just snug it tight. To tie the legs in, knot obviously towards the butt of the fly. I want the knot to be somewhat even with where the wings stopped. Hold it parallel to the body of the hopper. Do one loose wrap, and you can let it hang. Guys, the legs will stay there. You can see you can then position them where you want to. That's about where I would like it. Grab and then do wrap. Do not pull this tight, guys. It will cinch the legs and close them in together. you can position these. They're pretty easy to work with. Once you get that side where you want it, you will then repeat on the opposite side. Trying not to pull too tight. One wrap, position, another loose wrap. Now, at this point, what you can do is play with your legs, get them where you want them, make sure your knots are where they need to be. And then I can go ahead and trim the front legs. Push them together. I like mine relatively short. You can then at this point whip finish the fly. Five or six turns is all you really need. Then you can cut loose your tying thread. Got a little quick there. Now, what I like to do at this point is cut the tag end loose. I like my tag end to be the same length as the head of the fly. Try not to trap your wing when trimming this, and cut it nice and straight across. Not only does that push the wing back and ensure that it doesn't fly up if you happen to tie your L carrion too hard and too tight to where it will flare up. It helps push it down. It also gives you a little bit more of a visual as far as a sight indicator. I'm going to trim now the back of the legs. I like them short. Just go past the knot, maybe about a 1/4 inch. Then you could take your bodkin and you will now separate these legs. Just pierce the center of the two, go all the way to the body, and then all the way out. Then you could just grab each end and do a little tug, and it separates them nice. When it comes to the back legs, I also do the same. Past the knot. I leave the legs from the knot to the body of the fly connected. It's a little bit more natural. At this point, you can use your Zap-A-Gap again and put a nice layer. You can also use super glue. That's basically what this stuff is. It's just great. Go in the joint between the legs and on top where you tied it in, and even do the knot on the rubber legs, because guys, these will come unraveled. This kind of helps it keep from doing that. And there you go, the Mr. Peanut Hopper.